Okay, hello again everyone. I thought since now we've got the awkward introduction out of the way, I would do some backdated monthly wrap-ups so that there was slightly more to the channel than, although there'll probably be more of that later. And I decided that the first month that I would go back to would be August, because that's also the first month this year where I've really read quite a lot of books. Because until that point, I was living with my parents. And I don't know, I just didn't feel like I had the time somehow. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, now that I've got my own place, I can read as many books as I like. And I did so. Okay, so first in August, I read Beside the Ocean of Time by George Mackay Brown. This was given to me by one of my best friends, Mel, as a kind of Christmas birthday present thing. I'm not really sure. She posted it quite a long time after my birthday. It's set in Orkney on a fictional island, and it's about a young boy who sort of lives in his imagination, really, more than doing the practical farmer things. He invents stories for himself, and I can really quite relate to that. Yeah, it was a very good book, and I was very, I keep saying, it was a very good book, and I was enjoying it quite a lot. And then, well, there's just this one story in it which kind of ruined my enjoyment of it, because the character Thorfinn is made to seem like quite a sensitive and intelligent young man, and then one of the stories that he creates for himself is sort of your generic Selkie story where he kidnaps this poor Selkie and forces her to be his wife, and that just seemed out of keeping with what I was expecting of him. So I kind of stopped enjoying it a bit at that point. But it does pick up, and there is, as my friend said when she sent it to me, a Second World War connection. So, see, I said there'd be more of that. Yeah, overall, 4 stars. Really quite good. Just that one thing which let it down. Second book was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It feels like it's quite a well-known book, and so I don't know if you need an introduction, but it's sort of a coming-of-age type story. I picked it up in Waterstones because they were doing one of their sneaky, if you buy 2, we'll give you some money back, which is a good way to get me to buy things. I'd picked up the idea that it was a queer lit thing, so I thought it was worth a read. And then, as it was making its way slowly up my to-read pile, I heard that my friend Lucy didn't like it very much. I'm sure she'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember that she didn't like it all that much. And yeah, I kind of have to agree. The twist at the end is very poorly foreshadowed, and it sort of hits you, you don't expect it, and then you think that's a bit too major a thing to not feel is coming somehow. So yeah, not really a fan. And then that trend continued a bit. This is actually the second Philippa Gregory book that I've read. The first one was The Lady of the Rivers, which is about the mother of the main character in this one. And once again, this was Waterstones luring me in. I sort of well, I did medieval history at uni, and I quite enjoy reading about the period, but I feel like these books sort of overemphasize the magic aspect, which obviously I'm okay with that in fantasy, but not so much in historical fiction. It doesn't seem like it fits in a way, I guess. The other thing that I really didn't like with this one is she's a queen. She has to do all kinds of things which are ritually part of being a queen, and ways that she maintains her power, ways that she acquires more power. But you would not know that from this book. This book is all, oh, my husband, oh, my children, oh, my husband, oh, my children. And there's so much more to her life. And I found that really very annoying. So, not really a fan of Philippa Gregory either. Then I read Every Man Dies Alone, which is a translation of a German novel. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce whatever the German title is because I don't speak German. But it's set during the Second World War, and it's about a couple who live in Berlin and who decide to try and spread resistance to the Nazis after their son gets killed in the invasion of France. And it's based on a true story, which is obviously quite exciting. I think this might be, well, there are a couple of contenders for Book of the Year, but this is definitely up there, and I really enjoyed it. I seem to recall it was recommended by one of my... Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it is very, very good. I thoroughly recommend it. Again. The next one is White Ravens by Owen Shears, which is a modern retelling of the medieval Welsh story Branwen fach Lir, which is sort of known these days as part of the Mabinogion. No, I won't. I will resist the urge to be academic at you. So yeah, I have actually studied this in the original, as well as reading it in translation. Yeah, this is actually a very good story. I think I might have enjoyed it more if I didn't know the original somehow. But because you know what's going to happen. I think I think it would have more impact if I didn't already know what it was going to be, if you see what I mean. But yeah, very good once again. And also once again set during the Second World War. In this particular retelling, a chap travels to Wales to collect some raven chicks as propaganda because the ravens that live at the Tower of London are dying out, and they don't want the Germans to be able to find out about that. Because there is a very old story that if the Tower of London is ever without ravens, England will fall. And obviously, you don't want that in the middle of the war. And then while he's there, he meets this beautiful, beautiful young Welsh woman, and they rather rapidly get married. Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. Okay. Now for the unfortunate one. River of Destiny by Barbara Erskine. I'd been seeing this and thinking that it would maybe be interesting, and maybe not, because well, it's sort of, it's set in the modern day, but there are some kind of mystery which dates back to Anglo-Saxon times. Now, that's part of what I studied at uni, so in favour of Anglo-Saxon things. But then, well, I wasn't really sure, because the blog kind of suggests that the modern couple are, relationshipy. And then the author came over to the island for the Manx Lit Fest, and I thought, seems like a sign. I'll get her book and go to her event, which I did. Somewhere. Signed even. But when I actually read it, I should really have trusted my instincts. Because, yes, there is an Anglo-Saxon curse, and yes, there are vengeful ghosts. But somehow she manages to not talk about these things as much as maybe she could. For some reason, she thinks that the main thing should be modern woman with relationship problems, going to divorce husband, have affair with new neighbour, and then run off together. And that just, it's a waste. Frankly, it's a waste. You've got this awesome Anglo-Saxon subplot, which could be an entire book in itself, and it's just ruined with the boring modern, here we go, here's yet another one stories. So yeah, August was kind of a mixed month, as you can see. I read some really good things and some really bad things. But to finish it off, bit of silliness. Poor Yorick by Ryan North, which is, well, it went with his Kickstarter's book, To Be or Not to Be, which is a choosable path version of Hamlet. Really quite good fun. And this was one of the backer rewards. A very short book and very good fun. In it you're following Yorick and his adventures. Yeah. Good afternoon's entertainment there. Yes. On to September, I suppose. If you've read any of these and agree or disagree, I would love to hear. Yeah. Until next time.